Hi guys, welcome to another episode of A to Z from Prague podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Adonis. Well, actually, you can thank later this amazing production for bringing in such a phenomenal artist and music producer, composer, originally from Brussels, now based in Montreal, Apashe. Thank you so much for joining us. I feel very privileged to have a conversation with you today. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
Amazing. It's not your first time in Prague, right?
No.
Do you have a special relationship to the city?
Yeah, I'm starting to have this love relationship with it. Also to this hotel Andas, I'm like really comfortable here.
I heard it's not your first time here. I also heard a rumor that you had a studio in here. Is there a hidden studio in the building I don't know about?
Yeah.
Can you tell me which room is it?
So I'm not gonna tell you exactly where it is because it's hidden. It's like a secret, but there is a studio hidden somewhere in this building. The only thing I'm gonna say is it has a really good lighting.
Okay.
So there is natural light coming in. And once you're in there, it feels like a bubble and like it's a creative bubble. I love it.
Look, come on, for real. Like, I'm Prague-based. Can I use it? Is it really here, or you made it yourself just for a time being here?
No, it's a secret.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe you can talk to the management and they will share that info with you.
I'll try. I really try. So you worked with Prague Symphony Orchestra in the past, right? Was it for your second album, Renaissance, right? Are you working with them currently as well, or?
Yeah, so I've worked with them about like 3 years ago for that first album with an orchestra, and this whole album went really well. So now I'm working on that second album with an orchestra, and because of time issues, half of it was recorded here. Again with them, and the other half with an orchestra based in Sofia, Bulgaria.
What made you choose, Prague Symphony Orchestra? Did you make the decision, or?
It's pretty interesting because at first I didn't know anything about Prague. I only heard many stories from friends going here, and I didn't really know if they were going to be good or like bad. But it was more someone I'm working with who does the partitions. And the orchestration. He has worked with them a few times in the past. I don't know if you're aware, but in Prague, this orchestra is really known to do music film, video games, and record a lot of stuff for people everywhere on the planet. And so that's kind of how we got in contact. They have worked with people I know in the past, and it was kind of like, hey, these people there are really good, and that's what brought me here in the first place.
No, I heard that they work on worldwide productions and they attract like worldwide, notice. So I heard that they are excellent. So you've been here last November for shows, or was it for the recording?
Both. So I was lucky enough for the second time coming here. We had a show. I think it was at the Meat Factory.
Yes.
Like a cool concert venue, and because it's a concert and tours are always planned so much in advance, we thought, hey, we're going back to Prague. I have this new album coming. Let's finish the partitions by then so we can do both, So we stayed here for about a week. We did the show, and then the few days after we recorded.
How's Czech Audience? I mean, you performed just like a couple days ago at Beats for Love, right, in Ostrava. Yeah. How do you see your audience in here?
Actually, I feel like it's growing like a lot because the first time we recorded, I've never been to Prague. I was doing shows everywhere in Europe except in Czech Republic, and I didn't even know there was like an audience. And that first concert at Meat Factory was like a test, I feel, for the promoters and for me. And it was actually one of the shows that sold the quickest on that European tour. So we kind of felt like, ooh, something is happening in Czech Republic, which was really nice, knowing that I was already kind of starting to fall in love with the city and that orchestra. So yeah, it kind of felt good to be like, oh wait, so I can maybe come back and do bigger shows, etc. And at that show at Meat Factory, the people from Beats for Love were there, so they booked me for that festival. Also, they were I'm really grateful because they gave me like a really good spot,
Like a time slot, yeah.
yeah, a great time slot on the main stage. Which is, I think it was kind of a bet for them as well. They were like, "Oh, we really like what you do, but I'm not necessarily like the headline or whatever." So I was just offering a different show, and they believed in it.
Okay.
And I'm glad they kind of did that bet, and I could prove them that it was worth it.
And it worked well. Yeah.
And it worked. It was incredible. So
sounds like you're coming back.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's 100% sure I'm coming back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to your music. So for me, listening to it, it's very cinematic, very anthemic. I kind of see a resemblance of Woodkid, maybe a little bit. Is this artist like involved in your musical journey? Do you like him, or am I like completely out of the blue?
No, you're totally right. I love what he does. It's been years. I think the first time I discovered him was about like more than 10 years ago now for his the music video Iron, and
Yes.
I think it's not only in the music but also in like his music videos and everything. I always felt like he was a cool complete package, like the whole vision and everything. I would be lying if I would say it doesn't influence me. So I feel like it had an impact on me, on the younger me, and it still kind of does today.
No, because I love it. I mean, like, you're very known for combining literally like electronic music, electronic beats with classical orchestra, which for me is like the best of both worlds and kind of feels like timeless in a way. And that's what he does. And for me as an artist as well, he was like the first musician with like the lowest voice ever, making it, like worldwide and like in show business and in commercial music. So when I was listening to your album, To the Renaissance, I was like, okay, wow, this is literally like, it gives me the same feeling like when I was listening to Golden Age or any of his stuff. So was this genre something you always felt the closest to, or you were doing from the beginning, or how does your musical journey evolve?
I definitely went in all directions before kind of finding that path. I feel like if we come back to Woodkid, he was doing more like not really electronic, but more like pop mixed with with classical. And once you add classical music, because it's already so old, it is timeless. And that I don't think I realized that back in the days. And I was already doing classical stuff mixed with electronic, but I was also doing plenty of other type of music. And over the years, I kept making music. I kept, this career going, and it took me actually a few years to realize, like, the songs that age the best are actually the ones with that flavor, core, classical flavor. And listening back to all the stuff that I did, I really felt like, oh shit, I've made really bad songs, and I've made songs that kind of age well.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we all have been there. So
it's great that you have the songs that aged well. So that's perfect.
Exactly.
That's the goal, really.
And at some point I felt like strangely, it was also the songs that I had the most fun making, and that were the most dearest to me were also these songs. So I slowly started doing more, and I remember specifically a few songs in my career that were like tests. It's like, okay, can I go deeper in this, but then more melodic or more this or that? And I was stuck in this electronic music scene in the US, which at that time was like trap was going down, dubstep was the biggest thing ever.
Rising, yeah.
And then you had like the house scene on the side, but I was kind of stuck in this like machine where it's like, if I want to get bookings, if I want to play festivals or play clubs, I need to, like, everyone was shifting, either was shifting to dubstep from like the trap world, because I feel like I was a bit more part of that scene, and I had to kind of like choose path and choose like a sound. Otherwise I would not get bookings and I would kind of disappear, or that was like my fears, And this whole like classical thing mixed with electronic was not on the table. It was not an option. So I had to kind of test it out, and
it just worked.
and it actually worked, but I really did it progressively. Like, okay, this and that song worked really well, but it was in the past, and that sound is not relevant anymore. So how can I bring that back in a way? And all these tests actually not only created what I'm doing now, but it also branched it out, because it was like, okay, I can take that classical thing, make it really like calm, melodic, add rappers, make it almost like a hip hop song. And then also on the other side, I can make it like really intense, really party. And I was trying things out, really.
What you're describing here is like really analyzing your audience and like what's like working in the music industry. So to what certain do you feel like you were or you are doing music for people or for yourself?
But that's
like a thin ice, I think.
It really is, but at the same time, I knew what I liked, and what I liked over the years was that thing with classical music, because I said these are the songs that age well and that were the dearest to me. But then there was the reality of the audience. So when I say I was testing, is like, what can I do that I really like, but that is not part of the scene, and how can I actually in this scene and in my career keep this project alive, but do what I actually want. And at first it was like tests, but then once I saw that those tests were actually extremely successful, like a lot more than what I was doing previously, it kind of even erased everything that I did previously. It's like the different things that I was doing became irrelevant, and then I could really kind of be happy in this new thing that I was building, this new sound, and that's where I think I could fully do what I really wanted, and then it happened to be kind of
your music identity, pretty much.
Yeah, but also what people liked. So and that's when something kind of new got created in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's thin ice to talk about the duality between your audience and your sound.
Yourself,
and I think it's when you're making music for the people only, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can do it properly or authentically. You need to do these tests, but there is definitely a smart way to do it. And I definitely went like one test after the other to get there. But I feel like I'm gonna make better music if I personally love it and I put my heart and soul into it. I wasn't good at making songs for other DJs or the scene, like, because if I'm not connected with the music that I do, I don't think it's gonna be good.
How do you choose your features? So you've worked with so many like great artists. How does the process goes for you? Do they approach you? Are you approaching them? How do you choose the artists you want to work with?
It's a bit of both. Sometimes I try to reach out to people, but it's hard. I feel like in this whole creative process, sometimes I'm a little bit too much in my bubble, and it's hard to kind of, go and reach out to people that I don't know, just like, hey, I love your music, let's work on something. So most of the time it's the opposite, or it's friends. So you will see most of the songs that I have, on my previous albums or collaborations, they're all kind of songs with friends, like people from Montreal, people I know, or friends of friends. Wasu was a good friend of Lola, and Lola was a good friend of mine. Leah is a close friend of mine. It's always kind of people around me, people that I hang out with, and that happen
so it's usually no stranger, really.
Yeah, exactly. And then
is there someone you want to like work with in the future? Like you have a dream collab?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I have a list of like amazing artists I want to work with, but I feel like because I'm not friends with them or I don't know them personally, it's kind of hard to like break that like wall of social media and everything, and get to work with them. Also, sometimes we open discussions with really known artists, and we're like, this would be like a great fit. But I think if the person doesn't necessarily know what I do, it's also kind of hard to understand.
If he's not invested, yeah.
Because let's say you want to work with a like a big rapper,
Yes.
and you know, obviously what I do is kind of like classical and everything. So you send them like a shitty demo with barely any like drums, and it's more classical music. The rapper is like, what the fuck is that? Like,
Okay.
how do I rap on this? Like, it's not like the traditional like beat. Yeah. So it's
Stepping out of their comfort zone
yeah,
in a way.
and I feel like I need to really step up the way I approach this, because often I think I scare people, like bigger people that I try to work with. Like
You feel like they're intimidated when they when you
no,
approach them,
no,
or
I scare them more in like. Uh, I don't think they would see the value
okay. They can't imagine.
yeah, it's like, because even smaller artists that are now friends of mine or that I've worked with, the first demos that I sent them or the first look they have at my music is like a bit like they're weirded out. They're like, what is this? And then you kind of have to show them like, look, I can take your like your pop voice and I can put it this way and that way, and then once it's gonna be finished, it's gonna be like this weird song, but it's gonna work. It is cool, and then it's like a whole process. And sometimes I feel like for certain other like collaborators, they need time to get into it and to understand this whole thing, because if they don't know the project, it's like it's not just like, oh, you press play and then you understand what I'm doing. It needs a bit of digging.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's why sometimes I felt like it was a bit hard to work with people. But at the same time, sometimes it's the complete opposite. Once like an artist like fall in what I do, like and start listening to what I do, and if they get hooked, then they're like really like, yo, let's make 10 songs.
That's-
And I'm
yeah.
like, I'm trying to do
Calm
this
down.
and that. Yeah.
No, that was my question. If someone like really stood out to you and you plan on working with them again, I know it's difficult to to say when it's all of your friends, but
Yeah.
maybe give us a name.
Well, I have a few collaborations that are already like in the works, that are almost like public information. And a good example right now is Joy Valence and Brahim. It's like these two kids that kind of blew up on TikTok with this Beastie Boys type vibe. So they really rap like the Beastie Boys, and they even brought that like old school sound back.
Nice.
I strongly invite you to check it out, because they do it really well. And
everyone else.
as a big fan of the Beastie Boys and the sampling culture and everything, I was like,
Yeah.
yo, let's put them like on a song and everything. And at first it was the same thing. It's like, I think they got hooked because it was like electronic music, but they didn't quite understood. And you know, by now we have a song, and like we all love it, and it's gonna come out in like 2 weeks.
Exciting,
Yeah.
exciting. Well, you're also going on a tour, right, from October?
Yeah.
Called Antagonist.
Yeah.
Our producers are strongly interested in this question.
Okay.
Is there any coincidence that it's the same name of the tour, like Playboi Carti's?
Oh my god! Like everyone is like asking me
Is
this.
it really? Okay.
Yeah, it really sucks.
Okay.
I
So it's-
announced this tour like about a month ago, and then this week or like last week, Playboi Carti just announced
so
his.
it wasn't the other way around. I thought like maybe it's something like you want to work with them or something. So you
No,
would-
not at all.
no.
It's the name of my fucking album.
Okay.
And
Nice.
now I'm really bummed out. in
Well,
a
it
way.
can only give you more press, I think. You know.
Yeah, I guess it's like it was like the Renaissance thing with Beyonce too.
I
But,
love it. Yeah, I was
but I
thinking
mean,
of it too, but that was 2020, right? So
yeah, I always get the credit. I did it first. I didn't even know like anyone doing anything called Antagonist before. I even thought it was like kind of an unused name, which was one of the most like one of the reason why I chose it too. But yeah, it sucks, man.
So do you feel like you're antagonist in your music story, or you're living your, music hero fantasy?
I definitely do.
Which one?
No, I'm joking. No, it's more this whole like classical. It always feels cinematic. It always feels like it fits with videos, with movies. That's why I work a lot on like trailers and.
You're being very visual with your.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always kind of mean, It's never like the hopeful, like happy stuff. So
Okay.
it always feels like it's a theme song for like the Antagonist, and this whole album concept came from there. It's like I write songs for the bad ones.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I have so many questions actually, but I will get to it. But talking about the tour, where are you going next? Where can we see you?
So the portion that we announced right now is in North America. So it's a whole month and a half across the whole country, and 2 shows in Canada.
Nice.
Yeah, it's my first bus tour show with a brass orchestra.
Yes.
So we're a lot of people, and we're starting in the North America, and then for this year, and then early 2024 we are bringing this tour in Europe. But
Okay,
it's not announced, so I can't really like say.
It's fine. It's
I think
fine.
it's still in the works. I know we're passing by Prague, but I don't know where.
Sure. I mean, only tell us what you can. I'm fine with that one. So out of all of the categories, like, you know, writing, performing, meeting people, is there one thing that you enjoy the most, or is it the package that you love?
I definitely like a bit like all this different stuff. Mainly because I get bored really quickly.
So you're switching.
Yeah.
Let's write. Let's tour. Yeah, it's great. It keeps your creativity on as well.
Yeah, I feel like if you only write music, you have moments where you're uninspired, and once you kind of do a bit of everything, it's like a
Full circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. The problem now is like it's going really really fast, so it's a bit hard to kind of slow down and then do one thing at the time. Like, well, it's more like, okay, we rush this, and then music. That's the one thing that I cannot do at the moment is rush music. So like slowing down and actually taking the time,
And reflecting and enjoying the process,
Exactly.
which is so important.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you mentioned that you're working on lots of trailers. I mean, for our audience, we can mention you've worked on Kingsman, John Wick, and many other. How do you get to this? How do you get the sync with your music? Tell us, guide us through the process.
I feel like at this point it's a bit the same like licensing companies that are like hitting me up. But at first it was really random. It was like people emailing us, and we still get random people emailing us for syncs. But by now because I've been doing this for like almost 10 years. Actually, I have been like my first few syncs were like about 10 years ago. So. I think by now we kind of know like all these companies. So when they hit us up, we kind of already have a tie with them. So yeah, it really comes from nowhere. It's like it could be you working for an agency and you're like, oh, we need this music, let's hit them up. And
if it's a right fit for the movie or for the trailer.
And now it happens more and more that we work with the same people.
You mentioned, how visual you are with your music. How do you, keep your visual identity when you're working with so many artists? Do you feel like they influence your visual identity as well in music videos, in performance?
It's a mix of both. I think at some point when you create like a visual brand and I mean I like certain things and I really dislike certain other things. So
how would you describe your visual? Your brand?
It depends. I feel like sometimes it's very different. The visual, the music videos or like the branding of like the artworks are sometimes a bit too disconnected.
Okay.
It feels dark. It feels like majestic.
And that was my question. Like, do you feel it's influenced by the other artists that you collab with?
Yeah, strongly. So especially for the music videos, I work a lot with Adrian Villagomez. Like all my previous music videos were with him, and he definitely influences it a lot because we ping pong ideas all the time. We spend a lot of time together, and everything gets built together. Like it's not just me on my own with these ideas, and it's kind of how you create something. You were saying when you work with a lot of people, it's hard to keep the same vibe or whatever. Working with him really helps to to maintain that, because he's the same director every time, but then he knows who to work with, because he does so many other projects with so many other artists. He knows who to work with to also always kind of make it fit, with, because he knows what I like. He knows my my visual preferences. So that definitely helps. And by now I feel like any artist we're gonna be working with, they look at what we do and it's very obvious and it's very like concrete. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we know what to do. It's all there, very like
clear. And
yeah, exactly.
this is what I can expect from it. How big is your team right now?
It's a really vague question because I work with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Sometimes for only one project, sometimes
Okay.
for many.
So, like your management.
My management is a company, so it's a label and a company, Cannibal and Records, and we're even starting a sub label for what I do, which is going to be called Majestic Records. It's going to host my album as like the first release, but it's the same. So it's the same team that I've been working with for the last 10 years, and although it was created by 3 guys, which are also the guys who started the Black Tiger Sex Machine project back in the days. There's still the 3 guys owning the company and doing everything, but we have many people working in the team, and I work closely with. Actually, I'm saying this, but now there is like a 3rd guy, like, because mainly my management, the people I ping pong ideas all the time are like 2 people. It's Bao and Mark, but now I'm doing a lot of stuff with a guy called Xavier, who is also part of the company. But then we have someone for the social media, MP, and she's helping for a lot of other stuff. Right now, she's also jumping on a lot of things we need to do for the content. And we have Tyler, we have Nicholas, who does everything for the merch. So it's already like 6, 7 people. And then we have all the people working on like the artworks and everything. And then all the video thing is like, that's a black hole of a lot of people working on this project. And then for the music, I'm starting to work a lot with the same collaborators. So for like singers and stuff, and
Yeah,
so
I'm mainly asking because like I want to know how, like what do you think is the importance of label nowadays, for maybe even other artists entering the music industry or starting out, like we know a lot of DIY artists as well. So where do you see labels nowadays in the music industry? You just described a lot of people actually helping you out. So
yeah,
I
but it's
answer,
more of a management company slash label. I think this formula works really well for me because there's a lot of things I don't want to do, and anything that is not creative, I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to do like admin. I don't want to do emails. I don't want to. And that you need team, but it can be a management. The real answer to this like whole label thing is I don't think a label is important at all today. It is only in certain scenes when you want to be associated with like a song or like name, or you're making house, or you're making dubstep, or you're making like a specific type of music that fits with a label, then it's important to be tied with it. But other than that, if you're doing your own thing and like you don't really need it today because you can get your music distributed like so easily. However, once your project is starting to pick up, there is so many things you need to do. There is so much work. Yeah, you need a team. You need a good team,
but not label. Label works like a bank nowadays in the music industry.
Kind of, yeah.
In a sense, so you can avoid it. But what you're describing about the management team, I think that's very crucial.
Yeah, what I do is so complex behind the scenes. You need people to kind of deal with it, even just the money and like. And the grants and the touring and just the logistics behind it. It's so big and so complex, and it's so time consuming. You need a good team for that. And I feel like a management is going to do it poorly if they don't have like a good paycheck in a way.
Yeah. Obviously.
And that's where I feel like what I have with the label and the management kind of works, because we have enough people, enough resources to kind of keep the machine rolling.
Nice. Well, so you grew up in Brussels, now you live in Montreal. How would you compare the music scenes in these two countries?
They're definitely very different. But also, I left Brussels about 12 years ago, so it's been a while.
You were 19, right? Yeah.
Sorry?
At the age of 19?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been making music back then?
Oh yeah. I've always been making music.
Music.
Since forever. But yeah, so the music scene changed so much over the years. So it's hard to really compare it with Belgium or Canada, because over the years it changed and it went in all directions. But I definitely kind of left Brussels when electronic music was really big. You know, like the electro scene, the French touch, what you would call it back in those days, was like big. You know, like the whole Justice era. And then the dubstep era, like at the beginning when that was really big, and the drum and bass scene was really big in Europe in general. I kind of left Europe at that
point.
Yeah, at that really like high point, and then I felt like it kind of died in Europe, and I arrived in Canada, and then it was kind of popping there at that point, and then it never really died in North America. It just exploded, and I think that's an important part of my career. Is because I kind of surfed, that's how I started, and then it died somewhere. I feel like if I would have stayed in Brussels, I would be making techno right now or something. I don't know, but
you
like
got influence
yeah,
and dragged down with it. Okay.
Because North America offered me a scene and a career in something that I started in Belgium, and because it died in Belgium, my project would have died as well. Or I would have probably, because it died in Belgium, but then hip hop really blew up. So I feel like I would have probably took the hip hop journey rather than the techno journey, just because musically I find it more interesting, more challenging maybe. Although I love techno, but it's just as a producer, I prefer making beats. But yeah, and now it's kind of like growing back. Like it's like electronic music now is like steady in Europe, and so there is a scene for it. But it's definitely very, very different.
What can we expect from Antagonist? What sound?
Everything.
Everything.
Everything from like hip hop to electronic to classical. Like I have songs that have no beats.
Okay.
I have songs that have no drops. And then I have songs that have no vocals, and it's just classical and electronic. So there is a bit of everything, but everything is still kind of tied to my sound in a coherent way. But it was really important for me to have all these different directions in the album, because it's a reflection of what we were saying earlier, of what I like personally, and I want to keep making things that I get excited about.
Yeah.
And I'm not part of the electronic music scene anymore. I'm not part of the hip hop scene anymore, and
you're part of your own world, really.
Exactly. So I'm gonna take that world and be as creative as I can inside that world.
Is the tour that is coming up with the brass orchestra only, or you're switching up different setups?
So this tour, the tour that we're started is with the brass orchestra for sure. But then I also always have kind of gigs here and there, because I tour all the time. So there are gigs without, there are DJ sets sometimes. You have after parties, you have certain festivals where you can
what are the perks of touring, and on the other side, like the downfalls for you?
The downfall is the lack of sleep, not being in the studio, like in your own studio.
Yes.
Because like right now, I'm really forcing myself to learn how to make music in other studios, like in this hotel or
Winter Gardens.
It went really well in this hotel, but sometimes it's really hard to kind of work on music on the road. And I used to really struggle with that, and I'm getting better as I'm kind of now I have to, so I'm forcing myself, and so that's definitely a combo: the lack of sleep, lack of creativity in your own like space, and then I would say the jet lag, Also your relationships,
That's what I wanted to ask.
yeah,
Family,
I have
everyone.
friends, I have family, I have a girlfriend. Like it's all relationships that
All in Montreal?
all
Or-
in, but no, family is everywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, friends everywhere as well. But it's always kind of hard to maintain those relationships. Sometimes I come back and you're gonna organize like a party or a dinner or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you realize, oh shit, I haven't seen you in like
And
6
I
months.
missed so much, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like for you, so much shit happen and time fly, but people live there, have their life, and life goes on, and you're just not there.
And you're missing on that,
Yeah,
on that part.
you're
but-
missing on their lives. Like you're not there for them.
But they
You're
need
not
to
part
travel
of it.
with you, right? like
That's
the
very
Renaissance
true.
tour, Beyonce, and
Yeah.
whole family on the tour, and everyone. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's a way, but if they have their own lives and their own businesses and careers,
Yeah,
Might be.
you know when you have friends who leave and start living somewhere else for like a year or something, and then they come
Yeah.
back, and you think, oh, a year is quick, but then you realize, oh, they changed, you changed, things change, and then you kind of start being disconnected with
yeah,
them.
you do distance a little bit.
And touring does that to you. You start to be kind of away, and then things change. And that over the year, because I've had hectic years of touring and less hectic years of touring, and over all this time now, that's what I realized the most, that I value, and that is really a downside of traveling so much.
So in terms of your girlfriend and relationship, what works for you when you're like away for so long? Like what keeps you both sane?
I think you definitely need to find someone who is open enough and who doesn't mind you going
Yeah.
all the time, and someone
Who knows
who's
what's
good,
in the package.
someone who's good alone too,
Yeah.
like because you're not there.
And you're just cherries on each other's cakes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's crucial. I don't know any other way to make this work.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
I have a last question for you and
Yeah.
for our listeners and viewers. Apashe, how does it, where does it come from?
I think at this point it doesn't come from anywhere.
Okay.
It's I've been saying I've been making music for so long. It doesn't even have like a real like essence.
Okay, was it your nickname or did you just made it up?
Originally, it came from a nickname for sure.
Okay,
But yeah, it doesn't hold any value anymore. It's just at some point in life, when you're an artist, you choose a name and then you stuck with it for the rest of your life, and that's kind of how I feel with this name. And I don't even think about it anymore. It's kind of like your parents named you something when you were born, and then that's it.
but do you use more Apashe or John?
With everyone
Both.
around me, it's John,
It's
because
John,
I clearly differentiate kind of like my life, my personal life with the project. Although sometimes it's really vague and it definitely crosses.
So Apashe is alter ego on stage with the music.
Kind of, yeah. It's what I've created, but it's a creation. It's not kind of me,
It's fantasy in a way
Yeah,
that you're
totally.
offering to the audience
Exactly.
on stage.
Yeah.
And I love that. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us and sharing part of your journey.
You're welcome.
I do have one last thing for you, which we do with everyone. It's just quick answers.
Yeah.
So the first associations, really. I'll give you 10 questions, and just give me whatever comes up first to your mind, really.
Okay.
Favorite social platform?
I would say Instagram, because I'm very visual.
Favorite festival?
Zigit.
Sigad, really?
Yeah.
Are you-
That's the first that came in my mind, but if I think about it, it's probably right now. I would say maybe Electric Forest.
Are you playing this year at Sigad?
No, I played last year.
Nice.
So and I played right before the pandemic too, which kind of like us two back to back. So we're taking a Zigit break, and hopefully the year after.
I love that you chose that. I'm actually going the first time this year.
It's a really cool festival.
Yeah,
I think in Europe it's my favorite.
Nice. I love that answer. Greatest movie of all time?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Or your top 3?
I really like the last Dune.
Nice.
Do I need to put 3 or
I'll take that. I'll take Dune. Prague or Paris?
Prague?
Okay.
Paris, no, hell no.
Dream collaboration.
The first thing that came in my mind was like Playboi Carti, but as a joke.
Well, let's take that. All-time celebrity crush.
I think I'm stuck on Winona Ryder just because when I was younger.
Okay, she stayed there. Hans Zimmer or Dr. Dre?
Dr. Dre.
And last one, the craziest show experience.
Honestly, Ostrava was pretty crazy to
Beats
me.
for Love.
Yeah,
Okay.
Beats for Love.
Okay.
I'll say
Was it
that.
because of the audience or the best,
a
the
mix
best
of
time slot?
a mix of everything, yeah.
The environment, I
Yeah.
guess, as well. Okay, nice.
And I'm always happy to be in Czech Republic.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Nice.
Enjoy the rest of your time in Prague.
Thank you.
And hope to see you in Czech Republic very, very soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.